I'm back and we're going to be continuing with the first game between France A and Austria A. Let's just get rid of the music as well, and we're going to be looking how they play the first map, that is Arabia. Alright, so let's just start. And the civilizations are going to be in this 3v3. Aztecs, Chinese and Persians. It's going to be a switch, because the opponents are apparently ready with Aztecs, Persians and Britons. Yeah, well, that's a difference right off the bat in there. So, not sure who's gonna be better choice. The Aztecs and Persians, that's kind of a must. It has to be on Arabia, because of course, through the settings of the tournament, in the first game, you are not allowed to be having in the Arabia Huns, Mongols and Mayans. So you need to be choosing something different. And who is actually on the flank to potentially check if somebody's gonna be stealing? Eddie and Lavihet. Yes, Eddie is actually on the flank. He's already aiming exactly for what I'm right now looking at, and that's going to be apparently this boar. And he is, well, that's one homing beacon exactly for him. Was he actually there a bit before? I mean, like, he went absolutely clearly for it. Wow. I'm quite curious about this. We are not that far away. That was funny. That was fun. I don't want to insinuate anything, but he went absolutely towards it. Maybe he was just microing it at the end. Definitely could be. He's just gonna continue right now with this guy, looking where he goes. Where he goes, where he arrives and whatnot. But he definitely got supremely lucky there. If he really did luck on to that boar. Man, that was one homing beacon for him. He did switch from the left to the right, so it's definitely gonna be legit. But it's just a funny journey for him. Absolutely funny journey, and absolutely unfunny, of course, for Lavihet, who is going to be faced with pretty tough situation. So yep, right now he's moving a bit more to the right, and right now seeing exactly the board that he's going to be stealing. Well, that was one hell of luck. One hell of a tough luck for Lavihet, one hell of a great luck for Eddie, right there. Basically homing exactly on the bar where he needs to go for basically almost the shortest route possible. That definitely sucks for Lavihet, who is right now going to be trying to desperately get the boar back. And can she actually get something back on him? Where are the boars for Eddie? One at the back. Oh, actually, both of them at the back. Both of them at the back in there. And, well, the second one still being kind of openish, but it's close to the TC, so potentially Lavihet could be getting it fairly easily. Fairly easily in there. Anyway, on the left side, we don't really see any kind of attempt like that, even though the scout is there. One boar pushing the deer, apparently for yellow, for Sebdos. Oh, well, where is the second boar? Has it been already stolen as well? Well, that would be unfortunate. No, apparently not. I just don't see... Ah, here it is. Quite far away. That could potentially be stolen by Orange, but unfortunately he hasn't scouted that way. Let's switch into Orange. That's actually Teutonic tanks. Yeah, he has no idea. Yes, right now going to be coming... with the boar next to his TC, and the second boar is somewhere close by as well. Or is it not? Ah, well, here. Yeah, that probably shouldn't be stolen either. So I'm kind of thinking that's going to be it for the stealing on the left side at least right now. Lavia definitely will be trying to one-up her opponent, as she definitely could be, but unfortunately she doesn't have the homing beacon as Eddie did, for basically going right on top of the boar. So unfortunately she's not gonna be lucky enough, and her start is going to be quite significantly delayed, which is not that awesome. Not that awesome for her and for the whole Austrian team. So of course, right off the bat we're gonna be looking at an advantage, quite significant one, for the French. Some extra shenanigans right now between scouts apparently as Teutonic tanks, not knights. That's probably a mistake I'm gonna be making quite a lot, because even even tanks and knights are having like similar letters, so it's gonna be kind of tricky for my brain to actually process properly unless I get used to it. Yeah, one extra two doesn't matter. As Eddie was also scouting in there, and also was Sebdos. So Sebdos is just right now looking around his own base, trying to push some extra deer. LB10 is going to be helping him not. He's probably going to be trying to kill him. He could. He definitely could, because the scout is almost dead. 12 hit points, that's going to be easy pickings for the Eagle Warrior. As we are getting at... we missing something like 11. Actually, we lost You know what? The spectator overlay. It was probably through this restart, but well, right now we're not going to be restarting anymore. So we're going to be doing it the old style, this first game, which is of course going to be always very hard, but we're gonna be at least guessing what's gonna happen around the map. It's kinda how the games went and how the streams went before we were getting dashboards and spectator overlays and such. Well, it seems like that right now that version is going quite well as far as everything goes, and we can actually use a bit more thingies here, like for example for the villages and whatnot. We are having villas at 17 on the right side for all of them, just 18 right now coming up for most of them. Nothing really all that different. Let's look around the map what's gonna happen. Right now the scout is just trying to basically go back to the home base of the opponent where he has stolen everything that he needed to steal, as apparently there's going to be a bit of deer pushing, which is getting next to the TC. Would be maybe expecting that you would want to actually drop it next to the berries. Because of course it's going to be making things a bit more easier and you could be pushing a bit more of them in shorter time and with less effort. But it probably doesn't matter all that much, but well, this deer almost look like they would be running away, but yeah, that's not gonna happen as we are. I'm just missing even the stupid time. How would I even enable time, goddammit? I need to get that, because without time it's kinda stupid to play. And stream and whatnot. How can I actually get it? Somebody in the chat please help me. Because F11, F4 doesn't work, that's F4 is of course for Age of Mythology. So apparently I'm not gonna get that here. So I guess let's just go with all of the Fs. And one of them is going to be the correct one. Well, or so not. That's kind of weird that I'm not getting anything in here. It's probably somehow altogether bugged because I clicked into the restart. So in that case, I unfortunately will have to redo this. The start, because this is absolutely impossible to watch. Even the timing. The timing is super important to actually let you know what's gonna happen and whatnot. So let's just do it properly. So sorry everybody about this. Let's just go fast into the time when we left, which we don't know what the time it was actually, because we didn't have the timer. Right now everything is fine and it should be all working. As we are looking of course at the boards, getting for the eddy in there, and well, just some walling coming up. We should be already right now slowing down, because we are already at the moment where we probably left. It seems like that, yes, we are exactly at the moment. She was just starting with the walling, so let's just continue and with the normal speed. She seems to be quite nicely protecting the goal. This is kind of tricky. You can see that there is a way actually for the villager, or rather roof for the villager. That's what cliffs do, and the graphics on them. So it's a bit tricky, and always makes for problems for walling, of course, because you usually don't see that, and unless you are experienced enough, you're just going to be always surprised by that and letting your enemies inside your base. Anyway, Palisade was coming up as a defense for Teutonic tanks, as he's going to be facing a Drash by Sebdos. So Sebdos is going to be ready to go into the enemy base, but not really fast enough. This is going to be fast enough walling for him, but there is still a way through. That could be getting on the hunters, but he probably doesn't know about it, and I'm fairly certain he doesn't. Because why and how would he be scouting there? Yeah, he has absolutely no idea that the map actually continues that way there, as there is apparently walling coming from LB10, almost as if he hated his teammate. He's basically protecting himself from his teammate, like, yeah, well, just play there and I don't care about you. just try to not die too fast. I'm going to be playing something mine in the pocket. And of course, as an Aztec in the pocket, well, the opponents are having Chinese in the pocket, which I think is a bit better. Aztecs are better on the flanks always. But yeah, well, that just wasn't luck here in the game for the Austrians, and they will have to overcome that kind of deficit, as Drash from them is also coming forward. And right now, it's going to be coming up on Sebdos, who is probably gonna lose the villager, because he was walling there. And he's of course gonna be letting all those guys in, and it's gonna be 4 Drash, which is usual for Aztecs. But with the extra Eagle Warrior, it's gonna be even more threatening. And the Drush is gonna be heading home, of course, because they did not find anything to kill in the enemy base. And they will hope that they can at least defend against this, which might not be that easy, because they are far and wide away. He will probably have to delete the palisade, it seems like. That's not ideal. But at this stage, it doesn't matter all that much, as Feudal Ages are just coming in. First order for Teutonic tanks and Lavihead, Prussians and Britons. Whole lot of disparity in there, but I'm gonna have to look on the right side as well, because there is also quite a significant Drush coming on from Eddie, and that's actually 5 militias. So far he's coming into Feudal Age. I'm kinda curious if he's gonna switch into Men at Arms. So far I don't really think so, because it's kinda late-ish. Late-ish to be getting into that, looking how actually the archer ranges are already prepared and the archers are coming up, so like what would be the point wasting the resources there. But what's going to be the gameplay for Eddie? He's Aztec, he kinda needs to push through with this, and he might be just, oh well, careful, Lavihead with the villages not doing anything. Oh, so far it's working, but she's probably gonna lose this one. Well, not even that. Well, good job on that then. Good job on the micro. That worked very well for her, as of course right now there's gonna be switch into archer ranges, and that's something that does help. Aztecs in the next game switching into archers, the crossbowmen then, and potentially even sticking even later with some useful arbalests. In the meantime, of course, the Drush is moving across the map. Elbitan is just moving forward, trying to annoy even the pocket player Sito. That's usually something that you don't want to happen at all as a pocket player, but of course, when the opponent's pocket decides that he wants to be annoying, there are not many ways how to stop him. He's even gonna be having a few sheep in there. Going all the way back. Moving forward, but the walling seems to be quite sufficient right about now for Sito, so I don't expect that LB10 should be having much more extra luck with those militias on the opponents. Maybe he could be still coming forward all around, but this is going to be quite easy to quick wall, so unless Sito is not paying attention, he's going to be quite fine in there. As on the left, Sebdos is basically fully walled. He's going to be heading into the castle age, as he does have the blacksmith already prepared. He should be... oh well, he does stables, so he doesn't need the market. As on the right, it seems that Lavihead will be advancing forward into the attack. There are already some units hidden for Eddie. What are those, actually? Oh well, sorry. They are going to be what? Ah, well, some skirmishers. That's actually going to be a pretty nasty surprise against those normal archers. Even though there's a hill advantage in here, not really for much longer, and it's not going to be relevant at all. It's just not going to be relevant at all, as of course these guys are not strong enough to deal with their direct counter units, and they're just gonna be right now slaughtered one by one, and all Lavihead can hope to do is kill at least a few more extras, so that the opponent is not that easily allowed to go for the attack. Oh, is this going to be like a bit of a wolf train? With one wolf, it's not like much of a train really, but it is at least an attempt. She probably could have found a bit more somewhere, but I'm not sure where. Well, here on the corner. Could have been working, but apparently not all that much in the end, as this village is gonna get rid of the wolf without all that much of an issue. And we are gonna be switching into the middle, where Lavihead is coming home with all the archers, and she will be forced to defend quite a lot, and might be even needing some assistance from her teammates. Because so far, LB10 is advancing into Castle Age. He's going to be quite behind Sito as the pocket player, but still, he's at least quite annoying, trying to stall the economy, which seems to be working, but not really for much longer, as those dudes will be dying to the knights. Yeah, well, just about now. As Teutonic Knights is of course going to be helping with some raiding to 12B10, but he should be really advancing to the next age as soon as possible as well, because he is Persian and he needs to get into the TCs and into the comfortable placement in the castle age, where he's gonna be putting out those town centers for the economy. Well, pretty good raiding. The Drush killing about, I think, 2 villages. That's not bad. Actually not bad at all, as they are gonna be dying right about now. But the army from Red is already arriving next to Lavihead, and she doesn't really have any kind of significant army left yet. She's having just a few of them. Some extras were coming forward, but oh well. Scratch that. She actually does have plenty enough. She does have plenty enough to get rid of this small raiding party by Eddie. This is just not gonna do anything significant at all. Rather than dying. Should be already right now escaping, and they're going to be quite nicely caught off guard. Quite nicely caught off guard in there. Oh well. Surprise, I guess, but Lavihat unfortunately didn't really do it correctly. She should have went a bit more to the left to basically block exactly this escape path, which is gonna be costing her a few archers, I'm thinking. That wasn't necessarily supposed to happen. But yeah, well, right now it's gonna be of course working for her. And we should be looking what's gonna happen with the castle ages, because castle ages right now come in for Teutonic tanks, not knights. I'm really going to be repeating that in the course of the game. I'm fully expecting that. But looking at the castle age right now already in for LB10, who is having 2 TCs, I would be expecting third, yes, on the right side. For the opponent, for the Chinese, 1, 2, third being built, is actually quite slower, considering that he advanced through castle age significantly faster than the opponents. It's kind of weird. But yeah, well, that happened. Castle age from Teutonic tanks being in. Scalebard in armor and bloodlines as well. He's going to be switching into knights, of course. That's something that you'd be expecting from a Persian. But yeah, some reinforcements already coming in with quite big numbers. And at this stage on the right side against, or rather between Eddie and Lavihet, it really looks like that they are going to be basically just playing about who makes a mistake first. Who is going to be making a mistake first? Looking at, for example, the villages, as nothing much is happening, just first knights. Hoping that they can find something to raid, which they won't be able to. Is this properly walled? It seems to be. I'm not entirely certain there isn't a way through here. In there. Let's see. Oh, it seems like that there isn't. Oh, it's actually a bit difficult. A different way through. So yeah, that was a problem with the walling. These spawns are always tricky. So yeah, that was a wall. He doesn't need actually the hole right now anymore. But still, this is pretty sloppy walling. Yeah, you need to do better next time around. As he's right now moving forward, but unfortunately discovering quite a bit of army right now, and especially the camels for Teutonic tanks, which is gonna help against those early knights in there. In the meantime, of course, Red Army getting another engagement with Lavihet, but unfortunately they found themselves encountering a bit more army than they were actually ready for, even though Red looked like with much more. Of course, he was facing reinforcements from Lavihet right next to their base, which is always a pretty huge advantage. And right now it's going to be up to Sito to help a bit, but going under tower fire, yeah, well, that's not gonna work for you all that much. Eddie coming for Castle Age, so Lavihet should be really hurrying up if she doesn't want to be left in the dust. She should be definitely heading up. So this looks to be quite alright. Those archers should be getting rid even of the knights, even though Feudal Age army is usually quite squishy against Castle Age units. And I wanted to look at even a bit before. Yeah, there are some knights still. On the amount of villages, how's it looking there? For the French, Eddie 46, that's the least in the game. Sito 56, Sebdos 50. For LB10 at 61, that's a very good boom for him. From him, Teutonic tanks 49 and Lavihet 38. Oh man, that's very bad indeed for her. She's basically stuck in a very hard place right now. She's at least advancing into Castle Age, but she will definitely rely fully on the teammates to somehow secure the position next to her, because I'm kind of fairly certain that she won't be able to do it just by herself, because once the Castle Age hits for Eddie, he's gonna be getting the crossbowman, and then together with all those skirmishers, it's just going to be pretty much impossible for even a high number of archers, still just the feudal ones from Lavihet, to get rid of that. So Sankemos and Ice apparently looking for something to kill. Ooh, whoa, Imperial Age at 24 minutes clicking in. Somebody's greedy LB10. Well, that's funny. That's, to be honest, something I didn't really expect at all. And I'm fairly certain that the opponents are going to be similarly surprised. He's advancing a pretty good echo, has to be set at 68. But I'm right now kind of worried for him and for his team, because Sito as a Chinese is probably going to be having a bit better boom if he's gonna wait a bit longer, as he's right now gonna be doing. So not sure it's going to be the best of ideas, especially right now looking how the raiding is actually going all the way inside his base. Yeah, well, pretty tough guns apparently coming, as apparently its crossbowmen are already in. There was some conversion going on from whom? Ah, there is a monk. Yeah, the Aztec is going to be coming for a few monks to actually help him convert some of the knights from the enemy. But of course with the crossbowmen, yeah, well, it's not gonna do a whole lot. Not gonna do a whole lot, as he is having... right now, Eddie's already having second flank of units. He's going to be annoying Lavihet, basically keeping her inside her base, because she will need to defend against this. And at the same time, those crossbowmen are going to be a pretty big surprise, and something that LB10 won't be really happy about all that much, so... Goodbye, guy. Exactly into the back, that's how we like it. As there are some orange knights, I think, somewhere raiding in there. Well, so far they are just basically few camels. But there should be a bit more of them, because I have definitely seen more of them. But they apparently died or whatnot, because I don't see them on the minimap anymore. Which is gonna result in basically the only battle happening on the left side, with crossbowmen from Lavihet being researched just now. Sito is unfortunately for him housed at 85. Well, that's kinda sad news. Especially looking how he's having the best economy right now at 74. But that's because he's not advancing into Imperial Age, and LB10 is. So what's going to be the plan right now? Probably switch into Eagle Warriors, that's what Aztecs usually do. And maybe some Onagers a bit later. So yes, definitely right now barracks coming up in pretty big numbers. Together with the Eagle Warriors, so that's going to be the unit of choice to deal with all those archers, which is gonna work, and is gonna work even against the knights before they become some kind of cavaliers and maybe even paladins a bit later, but it's still quite far away off, and there is a hole in the wall that is kind of hard to notice if you're not paying attention because of the stupid mill. And it's letting all the knights to do whatever they want, but not really all that much, because the monks are probably going to be coming up soon, and the Eagle Warriors are just gonna be pursuing them quite soon as well. So we have heard University from Eddie. Today he can probably get ballistics at least. Slavihet is getting them as well. As we are looking at the trickle units. Oh, the trickle of units from Sito is quite real. He's going to be sending absolutely everything into the middle. But it's right now going to be quite nicely countered by the Eagle Warriors. It's just going to be better. Once they get some proper upgrades, of course. Forging Squires coming up. He will need quite a bit more to be especially effective. But he can even produce some extra pikemen, and that will be basically the death of all of it. He will need some castle to get the extra upgrade to make them even more beastly. But I'm kinda thinking that's all gonna come a bit later. As well, apparently, Eddie on the right side is going to be pushing forward onto the gold, which is an issue for Lavihet, because she doesn't have extra gold somewhere else. She's having just a lot of stone in there, and extra gold would be potentially quite far away, which I'm not sure she knows. Yeah, she doesn't. She has absolutely no idea. So she thinks that this gold is potentially her next. So this is nicely played, but of course, with all her army right now coming back, oh man, that's a bit more than this. Even though the skirmishes there could be kinda tricky. But yeah, they're just not gonna be good enough. Unless you will be getting elite skirmishes upgrade. Apparently not. And the skirmishes are going to be absolutely leveling this army. +1. It seems like the upgrades are the same for both. Not really any kind of significant advantage, but since Lavihet was the one shooting at them and Eddie wasn't shooting back, it means that this is basically an execution. Yeah, and just a very few losses right now for Lavihet, and she basically escaped with like 2/3 of her army, whereas Eddie lost quite a lot. He's going to be sending something more, which is definitely not enough still, but the knights are all across the place in the Teal's base, and Teal is having quite significant issues dealing with this, even though he's had a few, or rather little success. A little success in there, sending some few Eagle Warriors to raid a bit of an economy, which, like, oh, there was actually a hole in the wall, it seems like. Yeah, it seems like that Eddie was kinda, how the hell did they get through? Yeah, this is the tricky business of wood lines and of course hills and elevation, but he's going to be able to defend against this, and probably it's going to be a bit harder to get there next time around, as he's already having a hammer, so he might be building some walls himself. Yes, he will. He will be trying to help himself. So this is it for this attempt in there, as we are looking at the right, where Eddie is still quite nicely present, going to be killing the gold economy of LB10, which is of course quite a significant problem, because even though he does have still on the left, he's needing quite plenty of it if he wants to produce all the units that he needs to get, and especially the upgrades on top of that. Well, quite adventurous build up right now by Orange, who is already trying to raid a bit on the gold as well in the yellow base. Having quite enough army in there for that. He's having at least some measure of upgrades, the baseline in there, but he's much more importantly coming into Imperial Age, but so is Sebdos. So both of them are gonna be meeting in pretty soon. That's going to be Persian against Persian, quite proper mirror right there, which I'm not exactly sure who it is going better for. I'm kinda would be guessing for Teutonic Tank. He's having 92 villagers, Sebdos 96, so the economy is slightly better for Sebdos. Ever so slightly better, but otherwise the army is definitely better for Orange, and he is right now going to be pushing back a bit. But yeah, Yellow is going to be trying to make his best to actually stop this. But of course the map control is going quite alright, especially looking at all the military buildings being prepared. Apparently we are gonna be looking at... what? Albergiers? Probably. Kinda weird choice. I'll be really looking at stables from a Persian. Yeah, apparently nobody's interested in paladins this game. This is absolutely weird. The only one with paladins is going to be Sito, which he cannot have even, because he's Chinese. He can have only cavaliers. So like, what the hell is going on here? I'm just waiting for Sebdos. Plate Bardin armor. Oh, thank you. Sebdos is the Persian who is gonna go for the paladins. And that's what Persians should be doing. Yeah, he's already prepared for that. Even though he's right now on the Chemos, I'm fairly certain that he's going to be switching, as his economy allows him, into Cavaliers and Paladins. But I don't see any kind of attempt like that by Orange. He's absolutely not going for that. He's just going literally for Halberdiers and Captrams, and hoping that it's going to be enough. Well, in the early game, before it gets very late game, it could be working. Because the Halberdiers efficiency is good, but once you get the Paladins fully upgraded, then basically the efficiency of pop limit is going to be much higher for the Paladins. And in that case, the Halberdiers are just not good enough anymore. And once you don't have the Paladins to counter them yourself, then the mirror is going to be going south very soon for the Persian who doesn't. Yeah, well, anyway, right now pretty good attack by the Austrians, as they are getting into Eddie to somehow level his economy, as Eddie's having plenty of villages idle. 88 and 48 of them are idle, not doing anything at all. So right now Lavihat is looking forward to killing a few more, as yeah, well, just keeping at least those trees standing there to disallow any kind of way through. That was a nice little thinking by Eddie, as yes, move his villages somewhere else, like for example at the top, and Sito is going to be coming back to help him, but unfortunately don't think so. Don't think that it's going to be way enough, especially if Lavihat finds some good choke point like here. Yeah, this is sweet, but she needs to be careful because this could be deleted by Eddie. Exactly. Right, but now. Good team communication by the French. Good team communication indeed. So right now she needs to be going behind the pond. And she's of course quite lucky because there are not... Oh! There could be actually some Mangonos coming up. And are they already ready? Fortunately, I don't think so. He's probably afraid to actually disengage with them. But this is a good spot. This is absolutely great spot. Let's check. If he really does have Mangonel, I could have had some good shots. Oh, well, he could have. Oh, man, Eddie. Come on. This was a great spot. He could have absolutely leveled them. He needs to be basically luring them into the same spot. And then hoping that it's going to be going for him. Better than it did this time around. Well, that was an opportunity missed. That was an opportunity missed for an absolutely epic leveling. But yeah, well, that didn't happen. Right now, Sito finally getting into Imperial Age so that he can get some very sweet Cavaliers and Paladins, not him, because he's Chinese and mustn't forget that. But Imperial Age for Eddie is also pretty good news, because he will be continuing, or rather, he is just starting with the Eagle Warriors, which are gonna be working for him very well indeed against what is coming into his face. Because of course, these are Eagle Warriors from the opponent. Anyway, moving back to the left, where the battle is raging between the Persians. So far the Halberdiers are doing some decent job against apparently heavy camels, but we are not really right now going for the Cavaliers yet apparently, as Sebdos doesn't have strong enough economy. Right now the castle is of course gonna help quite significantly against squishy units like Halberdiers, but not really against all those rams, but still villages are present, even though they're gonna die. It's not a great fight for Sebdos to be honest, but as long as he can keep the castle alive a bit longer, he could be having time to get up with some significant army. Right now as a Persian, facing plenty of Halberdiers, having respawns of Halberdiers of your own, I kinda see the reason, because of the being that trash unit. But I would be definitely preferring hand cannoneers. But he maybe doesn't have chemistry. I haven't really noticed it being researched. He does at least university. Ah, yeah. This is what I'm talking about. This is gonna be resulting into hand cannoneers, I'm fairly certain. But we need to find first some extra archer ranges, which are so far not coming up. But what is coming up are full full squad of military buildings right now by Teutonic tanks. right in the middle of the enemy base, and this is gonna get pretty hard right now for Sebdos, even though we are looking at also some yellow villagers already escaping, for basically making sure that that's not gonna be any surprise. The cavalries are in for the Chinese, and he is moving forward to help his teammate Eddie defend as much as possible. So how's this going? Alrightish, it seems like for the French. Not so well for the other team, for the Austrians. Right now I gotta think that LB10 should be moving a whole lot faster into the forefront. He's even having idols in there next to his barracks. He should be basically building himself somewhere in the middle if he wants to help on both sides. This is right now the main reason why he's actually not that efficient in the battles. If he was able to join onto the left battlefield and basically decide the battle right there, which would be deciding the battle right there, as I'm thinking that Labihet should be capable of defending herself. Well, let's not be too hasty. She doesn't have army. She doesn't have any kind of defenses either. She's right now working on them, and it's almost looking like that they're going to be following with my line of thinking. Defending Lavi and LB10 going basically full on the left to help and somehow try and basically close the battle against Sebdos. Yeah, well, it's not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea, of course. Some slink from Sito into Sebdos. Yeah, well, it's definitely needed. Especially right now with the castles in the face. For him, he's right now in a pretty terrible situation, and he should definitely be retreated. He will need significant assistance from his teammate, who is apparently switching finally into Chukonus as the Chinese. So let's see if it's going to be fast enough. I kind of think that it should be. He doesn't have any upgrades though, so they're gonna be very weak. Very weak, but look at how the opponent doesn't have any kind of useful unit. Like, he doesn't have any useful unit at all. Teutonic Tanks hasn't researched anything else but halberdiers. He's absolutely having nothing else prepared. So of course the Chukonus, even unupgraded, are going to be slaughtering him like no tomorrow. Like there's no tomorrow. But oh, the war elephants, that's not a bad thought. He's getting fletching, apparently gonna be switching, or rather that doesn't really matter. Doesn't need to necessarily mean archers, it could be just basically for the castles. But yeah, it seems like that he might be really thinking about something else. Like we had finally getting into the Imperial about the elephants. Not a bad idea, but of course if we switch into Teutonic Tanks, we're gonna see no resources at all, because the upgrades for elephants are so expensive. Both Mahouts, which is like a must-have for them, and of course the elite elephants. Yeah, well, I don't think that the elephants are going to be the correct answer in here. They are going to be supremely inefficient in the fight against upgraded opponents. Well, some bombard cannon for some headshots, as Lavihet is forced to defend quite heavily with all the second rows of walls apparently against the Cavaliers. And Botkin Arrow coming for Sito, so he's finally gonna get some extra upgrades. And well, stopping at least a few of them exactly at the last moment, seems like. Yeah, well, they're gonna be stuck there, those crossbowmen with the tower, and potentially even the TC are gonna be getting rid of the remaining Cavaliers quite fine. So far, of course, on the left, this is going to be just continued destruction. Continued destruction of the French game. It seems like, but we mustn't forget that even though right now Sebdos is in a terrible situation, so are actually the other players from the Austrian team. Basically, the only one having a good game at this stage is Teutonic Tanks, who is pushing forward as much as he can, trying to delete Sebdos, but at the same stage, of course, Lavihet is forced into heavy defensive, and so is LB10. You can see he's basically not having any units in any kind of attack. He's having just some singles here and there, trying to get rid of the gold, but of course with the defensive capabilities and ability to produce units right next to it for red, it's nothing really major. These are just sheep, somehow still staying as enemy color. But yeah, these Cavaliers are just working themselves into some pretty significant issue, even against the pikemen. They are having +4 attack, +4 defense, but I don't think he has a castle for the special technology, for the better infantry. I really don't think that he has. Yeah, he's right now trying to build it to defend his base, and of course to get the extra attack, but without it, those Cavaliers are going to be killing the pikemen. It's just not going to be good enough, because it's still Castle H unit. So, well, careful about this, LB10. You might be looking into a pretty difficult situation yourself. And right now Sito is going to be up to basically defending himself against the onslaught of the Persian, who is of course nicely boomed at 127 villages, even though Sito is better, 143. Otherwise the economies are better for the Austrians, but it doesn't seem to be working for them all that well. It's so far looking quite a lot better for the French. Even though it's wide open still, there still could be opportunities for quite significant mistakes or even some total destruction of yellow. Right now I'm not entirely certain why yellow was actually running away to the bottom. He's at least going to be stopping the trade, that's a nice idea, even though there's a way through. Let's check if he actually realizes this. Well, well, Teutonic Tank doesn't know there's a way through. Sebdos actually doesn't know it either. I mean, what the hell? What the hell is this scouting, guys? That's not good enough for you. As Albergiers are going to be coming forward, and with all the Chukonos that are already very well upgraded, elites, +4 into attack, and light cavalry, well, okay, apparently somebody is running out of gold. With all the upgrades on them, they are looking quite indomitable right now for the opponent army, who is apparently gonna be switching into skirmishers. Conscription for him. Is it going to be skirms? Yeah, it's going to be skirmishes from him, apparently. He's going to be trying to counter all of those guys with the crossbows. But yeah, that might be really working. It might be a good idea. As in the middle, another attempt at the castle is going to be right now done. Even though they for some reason cannot build it. You can see they were just going around. So what the hell is this? For some reason, they cannot actually continue with the castle, or they are just standing there, not sure. Anyway, at any rate, right now we are looking at Arbalest finally being researched by Lavihet. She's right now moving forward, but we are also looking at yellow all across the map, trying to basically secure some kind of spot for him that he could be surviving at. And it's looking like that actually Sito is going to be strong enough to switch into Chukonos together with the cavalry guys. Is going to be strong enough, and as I said, since Teutonic Tank wasn't prepared for anything at all, he was having literally halberdiers research, and that was it. It means that he has very limited chances of actually doing anything else. And apparently he's not really all that ready to switch into anything all that much, as right now he's even under attack on his economy by the yellow player, who is still pretty much alive, still keeping his village account at 111, that's pretty decent indeed, and moving ever forward, and making life very difficult for the orange player, who seemed to be looking that he could be actually killing Teutonic Tank, or rather that he could be killing Sebdos without all that much of a trouble. But Sebdos defended well, and with the help from Sito, it's going to be apparently working for him, as the castle up is going to be a huge issue right now for Teutonic Tanks, who does have just a few siege rams that are gonna get killed apparently by the halberdiers from the opponent. This is really kind of unusual battle. Two Persians, and they are fighting halberdier against halberdier. It just doesn't make any sense at all. Just literally doesn't make any sense at all, because both are having super strong counter units, of course, in hand cannoneers. And just basically build a few hand cannoneers who are going to be slaughtering all those halberdiers in basically no time. Even though it's an expensive unit and you maybe don't have enough gold, the efficiency is just gonna be there. Just support the halberdiers by a few units extra and you're going to be happy with the result. At any rate, the battle is still going on the right next to the gold mine, but not really for much longer, as this is going to be running out pretty soon, as they are already establishing trade. The red player in there, he should be evolving a bit better, I'm thinking. But probably Lavihet is not even thinking about going anywhere nearby, so it seems like that he's gonna get away with it, and the trade is gonna be starting on the top right side of the map for the French team. Well, attempted castle. Fortunately, villagers dying in there to some eagle warriors that are still trickling in, apparently. Oh well, that's gonna be a bit more of them. Going to be stopping the castle even more. And that's a bit of an issue, of course, for the Briton, because you cannot get up any kind of useful unit like the longbowmen. But to be honest, longbowmen are... they are not really that great when you don't micro them properly. Because to use them efficiently and basically use them as a strength, you need to be keeping them at long range. And if you are basically not caring about the range, then they are not all that much better than normal arbalists. As they are right now fighting a bit of a nice spot at the bottom, try and defend against the eagle warriors, and since they are receiving some extra help from at least the pikemen from LB10, who is apparently still not having the extra upgrade. Well, but on the other hand, rocketry is already coming for Sito, and his Chukonus are going to be getting stronger by the minute. So some light cavalry here. I mean, like what and why? Why would you be sending this against eagle warriors and pikemen? Not sure exactly, but it's at least some unit. It's going to be disrupting the game plan by Austrians right about now in there. As on the left we are looking at pretty big battle, and yet again Teutonic tanks trying to somehow finally, for the second time, kill Sebdos, but it doesn't seem to be working still, because still the economy is very good for Sebdos, even though he is losing quite significantly. He has lost about 20 villies already, because he's down to 90. Teutonic tanks is not much better off at 86 because he's suffering losses through this brutality in his base right now. Fully upgraded Elite Chukonus and in pretty sick numbers. You can see Teutonic tanks having half of his economy basically idle, and that's not good news for you, even though you are deleting plenty of buildings all across the map of your opponent. It's just not the opponent that is the one that is dangerous. The dangerous one is Sito, and Eddie is going to be dangerous pretty soon as well, because he is at 134. His upgraded Eagle Warriors are going to be making a much more important presence in the battle pretty soon as well. And, well, let's see if Austrians have enough fight in them left. Right now, Lavihed has finished. With this. With the castle, as some Eagle Warriors are going to be ready for a bit of defense in there. But of course, this is already right now going to be brewing in there from Eddie. He's preparing some siege rams together with plenty of Eagle Warriors to be wasted and even killed, and he's going to be just surprising the opponent with some mighty push in there, as the Chukonus are absolutely everywhere from Sito, and Sito is quite easily the player that is gonna win the game for French, if it really finishes this way. Still pushing forward, trying to be annoying, while he has still a very strong unit on the left side that is pushing forward, getting rid of the castles, all the military buildings and the houses and whatnot, and waiting for all of those halberdiers to come for the execution, before the execution party in there. Well, right now they're gonna be switching somewhere else, apparently, a bit more into the mid, where Eddie is raiding with some squad of Eagle Warriors. But light cavalry is going to be coming into the economy yet again, basically crippling the Teutonic tanks altogether. You can see he's down to 77 villages, whereas Sebdos is back to 111, even though he has lost about 20 just a moment ago. And even though this looks like a pretty decent amount of good country unit to archers, the Chukonus are just so strong, and they are having quite good choke points in there to hide in the forest. So yeah, there's not going to be any assault there. In the meantime, some villagers already escaping from Teutonic knights, or tanks, from his base. So apparently Red is right now moving forward with the homebrewed plan of all the siege rams, with the Eagle Warriors getting rid of the castle, which will result in, of course, getting rid of the Gold Gathering, and probably most of the rest as well. Oh, some longbowmen actually. But yeah, as I said, if you don't keep them at long range, they are not really any better than normal arbalists. Yeah, Elbeaten right now paying a bit more money and tribute to his ally, but I don't really think that's going to be strong enough, because right now this looks quite convincingly going for Red, but well, still there could be some kind of chance for LB10. But since he is having to actually battle there, he's going to be losing economy inside his home to all this raiding right now by Sito, and Sito at the same time is doing a good job holding the front and helping Sebdos actually stay alive, even though Sebdos has basically abandoned this stage. He has moved everything into the back and somewhere into the middle in there. He's still very much alive, which basically means that, oh well, right now getting into the trade, it's just a bit too late to wall this off, as Chukonus are already through. Oh man. So trade is going to be gone for Austrians. It looks like they're going to be having very limited chances of actually somehow stopping this, because they don't have the basically ultimate counter unit on edges. Neither of them is having that, and Sebdos is even going to be coming for Paladins finally at 1 hour of game time. Yeah, well, at least better than ever, I guess. And it's probably going to be just signaling to the opponents that yes, it is time to probably abandon the game, because this doesn't look all that promising, like at all. Horses, are they already somewhere preparing? So far not. He does have enough stables. Ah, yeah, well. Right now the Paladins are already done, which is probably gonna result into no need for the light cavalry anymore. But still, it's not like he really needs it all that much, as right now Eddie is pushing forward, because he just wants to be popped. I'm right now talking about Sito with the light cavalry, and if he can spend some resources for that, yeah, well, it's just as well, as right now Eddie is pushing through into the economy, and he's going to be absolutely wrecking everything inside the base of Lavihed. So, unfortunately, that's gonna be, I think, pretty hard for Lavihed to deal with, especially since Leviathan is having his hands full all across the map. he has been able to somehow at least limit the number of the Chukonos, even though not really before they have dealt their damage to the trade route and even to the economy, into the villages in there, and some long movement together with arbalists are probably gonna get rid of them finally. Or not? Well, with the help of the Eagle Warriors, they really should be. In the meantime, there are still arbalists, Chukonos from the Chinese still present in there. Halberdiers are waiting for them, but this is definitely gonna result in impossible situation right now with the paladins, because the opponents don't have the paladins and they are fully upgraded, which means that they are gonna be a supreme powerhouse and very strong power spike right now for the French. So they are moving ever forward into the bases to try and kill as much economy as possible, as light cavalry is still trickling forward into the middle. Well, there is nothing basically to kill right now, as GG is going to be coming up from the Austrians. And well, French, even though the game looked all kinds of fishy, especially on the left for Sebdos, is going to be coming for the French. So the first game is gonna be coming for the French team. Alright, let's check into the post game then, into the achievements. Well, that's gonna be this. Sito, most deservedly, he was definitely the MVP of the game. He was the one who was keeping his team alive, most assuredly. Yeah, well, most units lost, unfortunate for Elbeaten. Not a good ratio for him. Not a good ratio at all. As opposed to, for example, the ratio for Sebdos. 175 against 340. Yeah, well, that's actually not good as well. Yeah, I was just having it turned around in my head. He was actually having the good ratio. Ah, here, Eddie. 20 units killed, not really many lost. And especially Sito, 569 killed and just 269 dead. But that's what then happens when you are having plenty upgraded Chukonus. Not much of a sling in, there was nothing from Eddie. He received something from Sito. Well, Sito was really playing really well and apparently was the MVP. And the reason why actually French were able to come back from the very hard situation and even to win the first game. So GG.